However, which way you put it, chasing weapons in Destiny is really important, whether it be for your own personal enjoyment and replayability, or simply wanting to obtain the best, most effective, or maybe just most unique weapon possible for your loadout. But this current season of Arrivals, is more important than ever because next season, sunsetting or weapon sunsetting is going to be in actual effect. We won't be able to effectively use some of our current weapons because of the power level cap they have in the next season of endgame PvP or PvE. So in this video, I'm going to be going over what I think are all these standout weapons and roles or god roles you should be looking out for or potentially farming if you think they're important enough. The weapons I mentioned in this video will be a mix of the most effective weapons or the most unique weapons that do something that we haven't seen in the past, or potentially carry on something very good that won't be sunset anytime soon. I aim to keep doing videos like this in the future at the start of seasons to outline all the weapons that are on my radar and give you guys an idea of that, and as we work through the season, obviously do specific videos on each of these weapons if I obtain them. Firstly, let's start with the new weapons that are available from the Umbral engrams. We have the False Promises, which is a high impact auto rifle that actually has higher zoom than all the other weapons in this archetype, 20 zoom, and it has a very vertical recoil direction of 86, which is great and better than most before it, as well as some new perks available. For PvP in your first slot, you're going to be looking out for Killing Wind, one of the new perks, or Dynamic Sway Reduction, which also got a buff this season. In the second slot, you're going to want to be looking out for Unrelenting, Rampage, or Swashbuckler if you favor lethality boosts, or Eye of the Storm for another accuracy boost that can be combined with Dynamic Sway Reduction. In PvE, you can get roles like Overflow or Feeding Frenzy in combination with many damage boosts like Rampage, Swashbuckler, or Surrounded. Cold Denial is a really interesting high impact pulse that really grabbed my attention because it's a high impact pulse rifle with hand cannon level zoom. This is the lowest, I believe, of the archetype with 14 zoom, and it has new perks available. For a great PvP role, you want to be looking out for Killing Wind as the best perk in the first slot. In the second slot, you can go for, again, damage boosts like Swashbuckler and Multi-Kill Clip, but you can also go for Unrelenting or Headseeker. I didn't find there was any really standout roles of this weapon for PvE, however. I personally don't normally prefer bows, but I couldn't help but notice the Whispering Slab had some really unique perks available on it. For PvP in the first slot, you can get Quick Draw, Archer's Tempo, but even Firmly Planted and Killing Wind. In the second slot, you can get Opening Shot. To combine that with Firmly Planted or even Killing Wind, you can get Vorpal Weapon as well, and even Unrelenting. So a lot of really great perks on this bow. And for PvE, you can get Archer's Tempo and Vorpal Weapon, which is great. They're definitely not useless in PvP, but mainly for PvE, I cannot leave out the new Caster Frame Swords. Of course, they have unique attack types, but they also combine that with incredibly powerful perks, like the Falling Guillotine can get Whirlwind Blade and Relentless Strikes, and the Temptation's Hook can get Whirlwind Blade or even Vorpal Weapon with Relentless Strikes as well. Moving on to some weapon reprisals, starting with sniper rifles, the Widow's Bite is the #1 sniper I have my eyes on this season and will probably main this sniper. It's a 45 zoom rapid fire sniper, but 45 zoom doesn't sound too bad because of potential nerfs coming to low zoom in the future. Also, this is the first 140 RPM sniper to have a double accuracy boost, having in the first slot Firmly Planted available and in the second slot Opening Shot, but also other great perks like Quick Draw and Eye of the Storm. Accuracy boosts are really important to me on weapons, and I think they're just as important on sniper rifles, if not maybe a bit more. Opening Shot and Firmly Planted, having these two as a combination is really good, and I love this on the Eye of Soul. However, the Eye of Soul doesn't have as high of a base handling or as high of a base handling potential, I believe, as these 140 RPM rapid fire snipers do inherently, because again, they have high base handling stats and you can improve that further. Firmly Planted does improve handling when crouching, among many other things like of course accuracy and even recoil direction, but being able to have high handling just on demand passively on top of Firmly Planted and Opening Shot really makes it feel like you're not really giving up anything with this sniper. So that's why I really want this one with a great roll. Luckily it's farmable from the dungeon, so I gotta get to farming. The Ikelos sniper rifle follows shortly after with 45 zoom and also having the rapid fire frame, but I will have to say it does have a scope that doesn't really feel like it's too high zoom because of the wide FOV it offers, and I remember in year 1 a lot of people like that about this sniper. It's got some great base stats, but it also has pretty unique perks. In the first slot for PvP you can get no distractions and moving target, both very valuable on a sniper, and in the second slot you can get quick draw and box breathing. Although I think these snipers are going to be top tier if you're a 140 RPM rapid fire sniper lover like I am, I didn't really think that they had any roles that stood out to me in terms of PvE functionality. The Death Adder is a 900 RPM lightweight SMG, and I know that might not sound like the greatest, but this actually has some pretty unique perk combinations. This one lacks a good PvE role in my opinion, but for PvP this is the first time we're gonna see dynamic sway reduction and rangefinder together available to be combined on an SMG, which is pretty interesting I think. It does have barrel options available, which is great for maximizing the range maybe, or even the recoil direction, but of course the only way to increase the zoom is through rangefinder, so I very much recommend that, but there are other great perks like Eye of the Storm and even moving target and quick draw. I like this SMG because I think it has a lot of potential to be one of the most consistent despite not having a good lethality or damage buff. The Ikelos SMG is one of the best, most consistent SMGs in the game and saw a time in the meta back in year 1 when it was released. Now coming back, it has some good perk combinations that are going to continue to make it one of the best options if you like SMGs. For PvP, it can get in the first column dynamic sway reduction, which is going to be the #1 perk you want to prioritize, and in the second column you're going to be able to get either tap the trigger, so you can combine that with DSR, that's really incredible. I'll talk about that in a moment, but you can also get vorpal weapon. The combination of tap the trigger and DSR is really great because tap the trigger is going to allow you to start your gunfight with a bit more stability and some improved accuracy, and then DSR is going to pick up where tap the trigger left off, allowing you to maintain that accuracy that tap the trigger started once it finishes because of DSR, and DSR is going to continue to give you that +10 stability boost on top of the continuous accuracy. This is incredible, especially for a 750 RPM aggressive SMG, mainly because it's going to make it feel a lot more controllable and a lot more consistent than the random rolled SMGs that we've seen in the past in this archetype, but this is also the first time for this archetype seeing this combination of DSR and tap the trigger. If you're looking to use this for PvE though, it does get perks like Disruption Break, Surrounded, of course vorpal weapon, and even Demolitionist that might be attractive. The Forward Path is one of the year 1 Iron Banner weapons. It's a 600 RPM auto, which you already know is incredibly strong. This archetype is very strong, although it might be getting adjusted next season. This weapon still holds a lot of value and merit because for PvP it has some pretty unique perks and combinations. It has new exclusive perks to Iron Banner weapons, which I'll talk about in a moment, but in slot 1 the #1 perk you want to go for is DSR. You really don't want anything but that in my opinion. In the second slot you can get Iron Grip and Iron Gaze, the two new Iron Banner exclusive perks to these weapons. Iron Grip gives you a big boost to stability +20 at the massive cost to reload with -40 reload. Iron Gaze gives you a great bonus to aim assist +20, but takes away an insane amount of range -40. So whether those are worth it to you is subjective, but other perks you can get are great things like Tap the Trigger to combine that with DSR, Eye of the Storm to combine it with DSR as well, different accuracy boosts, and then it has your lethality perks like Multi-Kill Clip and Swashbuckler. And I want to say that it's actually difficult to get a bad roll of this weapon looking at the possible perks. As long as you get DSR, the second column really doesn't have bad perks in my opinion. Let's talk about shotguns, starting with a slug shotgun called First In, Last Out that's returning, and for PvP in its first column you can get Slide Shot as the most attractive perk as it seems to lack quick draw overall. But in the second slot you can get Opening Shot, and this one's really cool, Vorpal Weapon. I think this is the first time we're seeing Vorpal Weapon available on a slug shotgun, which could be pretty interesting for shutting down supers with a shoddy melee combo. In PvE it can have some good potential too. It can get auto-loading holster in the first column and again Vorpal Weapon, and because of the buff to slug shotguns this might actually be pretty good, so you might want to try it out and get one. The Ikelos shotgun I'm sure is a pretty known shotgun that is returning this season, and this one isn't great for PvP at all, but for PvE it has some reload perks like Feeding Frenzy, Pulse Monitor, and even Threat Detector, and you can combine it of course with its signature perk that it introduced, Trench Barrel. And of course, aside from its great perks and functionality for PvE, this one isn't getting sunset anytime soon, so I think you really want to make sure that you have one of these ready for future endgame content. Anyways, this is my guide to all the weapons and their god rolls that you want to be looking out for this season in Season of Arrivals. I hope this was useful and enjoyable, and if you'd like to see more content like this, you can check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Drewskys, link is in the description, and I hope to see you there. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.